Good evening. My name is Andrew Kavanaugh. I am the principal of Medomak Valley High School, and I am honored to welcome you to the commencement exercises for the class of 2016. Following tonight's recessional, you are all invited to a reception in the cafeteria to honor our graduates. At this time, would the following students who have chosen military service as their next step please come forward? Zachary Starr, United States Marines. David Heron, United States Marines. Andrew Kronk, United States Marines. Margaret Cox, United States Army. Riley Cushman, United States Army. Trevor Thompson, United States Army National Guard. Erin Ducharme, United States Navy. Amanda Poland, United States Navy. Vanessa Rancourt, United States Air Force. Would you please rise to honor these young people and remain standing for the playing of our national anthem? And gentlemen, please remove your hats. Thank you. As president of the class of 2016, would Sophie Cohen please come to the podium to deliver this evening's greeting?
Good evening, and welcome to the graduation ceremony of the class of 2016. Tonight marks a new chapter in all of our lives, as we will no longer be students in Medomak Valley High School. Some of us will be going to college, some will be joining the military, and some will be entering employment. We are a diverse class, one that has been involved in all aspects of this school. Whether it be finding an interest in the Heirloom Seed Project, which is recognized nationwide, investing time in the band room and earning a spot in district chorus, practicing athletic skills and earning a spot to the state championship in basketball, students here all have a unique, talented, and dedicated gift. We sing, dance, and act. We play instruments, take photos, and grow plants. We participate in cross-country, soccer, football, fall cheer, winter cheer, basketball, wrestling, swimming, hockey, indoor track, outdoor track, softball, baseball, tennis, and more. We have been in KVAC championships, regional championships, and state championships. We are world travelers. We are fishermen. We are farmers. Our excellence has earned us spots in Maine Maritime Academy, Princeton University, the University of New Hampshire, Husson, Thomas, Wheaton, Norwich, the University of Maine and its Honor College, and many more. We are scholars and we are athletes. We are musicians and we are artists. We are ready for the next step, but as a class, we could not have done it on our own. Tonight is not just for students, it is also for you. For the teachers that pushed us when we didn't want to be. For the older siblings that prepared us by telling their stories. For the younger siblings that silently encouraged us to be the best versions of ourselves. For the grandparents, aunts, uncles, and other relatives that made us feel accomplished. For the friends that loved us throughout the journey. And for the parents and guardians that made us into the human beings that we are today. Tonight is for all of us, and I welcome you to celebrate our accomplishments tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Seniors, we should recognize two special groups in attendance here tonight. Would the parents and guardians of the class of 2016 please rise? The support and effort of these individuals have helped you to achieve the milestone we are celebrating tonight. Now, let us recognize with a round of applause the Medomak Valley High School teaching staff who have challenged the class of 2016 to strive for their highest level of academic achievement and have supported their efforts to do so for the past 4 years. Thank you. Miss Claire Lupian, could you please come forward? By virtue of attaining the second highest 4-year grade point average for the Medomak Valley High School class of 2016, with a GPA of 4.313, we are pleased to award the salutatorian medal to Miss Claire Lupian.
So those of you who know me know that I've fallen down many times in my life. I've tripped over things, I've slipped, I've fallen off of things, a stage. But I'd like to think that falling down so much has given me an insight into what it's like to see the world from that perspective. So I've written you a little poem about falling down and getting back up. The moment of lost balance is tantamount to fear, the loss of your dignity and poise. The sound of laughter from everyone near blends into an impressing noise. What can you do but laugh in turn, brush it off as if no one's watching? But as you get up, you always learn how to move past what once was blocking. And if you find yourself once again in a fall, tripping over that same stubborn thing, doesn't mean you've lost it all, just means you need a new dream on which to cling. Just be careful not to fall on the grass, because then you'll go and stain your clothes. What? You were expecting it to rhyme? Not everyone has that kind of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Mr. Jackson Vale, would you please join us on the stage? By virtue of attaining the highest four-year grade point average for the Medomak Valley High School class of 2016, with a GPA of 4.584, we are pleased to award the valedictorian medal to Mr. Jackson Vale.
It's hot in here. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm just kidding, I can't write poetry. I specifically told Claire not to do her sonnet. I mean, how am I supposed to follow that? So if anyone's expecting me to drop a verse of haiku or break into a soliloquy at some point during my speech, it's not gonna happen. Actually, I'm gonna let everyone down easy right now and tell you that I am not a public speaker by any means, but apparently someone thought it was a good idea to give me the microphone, so here it goes. On his album, fittingly entitled Graduation, Mr. Kanye West said, "If you admire somebody, you should go ahead and tell them people never get the flowers while they can still smell them." So while I have this opportunity, I'd like to start quickly with some thank yous. I wanted to thank my friends for keeping me sane over the last 4 years, and my entire family for all of their love and support. But I especially wanted to thank my mother. Where is she? There you are, Mom. You've always been my #1 fan, and I can't thank you enough for all that you've done for me, but I'm so lucky to have you, and I love you. Don't cry. In addition, I think I speak for all of the graduating class when I say thank you to the Medomak Valley staff for helping us get to this day. I would certainly not be standing here if it weren't for a few of the teachers that are in this room right now, and they should know who they are, but they deserve immense credit for the job that they do. Now, when I first thought about this speech, my initial instinct was to do what every person currently wearing cap and gown has done when faced with an economics quiz. Just wing it. Isn't that right, Mr. Couric? But since this is my high school graduation, I figured I should be prepared, so don't worry, I wrote this last night. You think I'm kidding, but... For the class of 2016, we have had an interesting 4 years here. Sometimes have flown by, others have felt like decades. But we finally made it to graduation, and we've grown up as people and created memories along the way. We are about to go in separate directions, but there will be things that we will never forget about our time here. Because there's something so wonderfully unique about being a Medomak Valley student. For example, most schools probably use their PA system for kind and encouraging announcements like, "Have a wonderful day, students." While at Medomak, the loudspeakers typically sound more like, attention students, you have 17 and a half seconds to get to class or you will be marked tardy. At other schools, kids probably learn a foreign language like Spanish or French during high school. Here, our outstanding foreign language department also offers those languages, but it's impossible to get a Medomak Valley diploma without gaining fluency in at least a few dialects of truck, too. Now, what I mean by that is, Spanish classes taught me that no puedo encontrar mi tarea, señora, means no, I don't have my homework, Mrs. Feria. I can't find it, sorry. But walking through the halls for 4 years has taught me that, brat, brat, it means I drive a lifted Chevy. Unless it's Cameron Robinson. In which case it means I like to pretend I drive a big truck. And then, of course, there's our water. Our occasionally yellow, sometimes salty, and often unsafe to use water. One time I heard a visitor in the front office, and this is a true story, say, "Wow, there's a lot of great kids here at Medomak. There must be something in the water." And I thought, you got that right. And you laugh now, but 30 years from now, when there's a water shortage, and all the Camden graduates die of dehydration, we will be thriving because of our 4 years spent here. Without drinkable water. We can say we survived because we went to Medomak. More importantly, though, we will remember our time in the school because of the relationships that we've developed here as students. The people that we've met, the friendships that we've created, and the bonds that we've formed we will carry with us for the rest of our lives. That woman in the office noticed how great Medomak students are because what truly makes being a Panther isn't our water, but our people and the sense of community that we all share. And at the end of the day, we should all realize how lucky we are to have come to this school. Now, as much as graduation is a time to reminisce, it's also a time to look ahead to the future, as we are all about to embark on our own journeys, onto college, onto work, onto military service, onto eating Hot Pockets and playing video games in our parents' basement. Regardless of what you choose to do so with vigor and passion. One of my favorite quotes, I'm sorry, I just realized how nerdy that sounded. Yes, I do have favorite quotes. And one of them is by civil rights leader Howard Thurman, and he said, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people that have come alive." So travel. Talk to that girl you really like. Learn how to do something you've always wanted to do. Apply for that job you never thought you'd get. Above all, stay true to yourself. My wish for you, my friends and classmates, is that you find the things that make you come alive and pursue them with all the enthusiasm in the world. We are an extraordinary group of people. We have dreams and goals of being engineers and fishermen, surgeons and teachers. We want to be businessmen, nurses, own fourth-generation family farms, and survive Marine recon training. While you're on those paths, ask yourself, what am I on fire for? Remember the things that you are passionate about, because a world full of passionate people automatically becomes a better world. As I once said about 8 hours ago, when you love what you do and who you do it with, everything else will fall into place. That's right, people. Abraham Lincoln didn't say that. That wasn't Maya Angelou. That's a Jacksonville original. When you love what you do and who you do it with, everything else will fall into place. Medomak Valley Class of 2016, I'm blessed to be speaking to you tonight. It's been a privilege to have grown up with you and to have survived high school with you. As we move on to our next adventures, I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you very much.
For not being a public speaker, I would say he hit a home run with that one. Will Mr. Ezra Hinckley please come forward to introduce this evening's keynote speaker?
The person that I was chosen to introduce tonight is someone who is really special to me. I know it's kind of corny, but I really think of him as part of my family. This year, he was my calculus teacher, my math team coach, my varsity tennis coach, and my advisor in the outdoor club. My class chose him to speak for us because this year he was happy to supervise 6 of us on an overnight hiking trip. He brought us Oreos and donuts for math team every week. He represented us in the winter carnival, stumbling his way into second place in the blindfolded musical chairs. And he worked us mercilessly in his classes. He taught us that learning doesn't always have to be fun to be rewarding. But the most important reason we asked him to speak, and I hate to say this, is because we really respect him. And with that said, I'd like to introduce my dad, Mr. William Hinckley.
Thanks, Ezra. Well, it is a great privilege to be able to speak to you on this momentous day. A couple of months ago, Kyle Blum and Jackson Vale came to my classroom to invite me to be your commencement speaker, and it happened to be on the same day as the Mr. Medomak talent show. I initially assumed that they were there to encourage me to come to the evening's performance. And of course, I'm very honored to be here to be your commencement speaker, but I was kind of disappointed I didn't get a personal invitation to watch Kyle play chess against himself and Jackson dance in a princess dress. But here I am anyway. So initially, I was a little surprised by the invitation. I mean, wouldn't it make more sense to choose an English teacher with a poetic mastery of the language or a history teacher with some great insights from the past? But then I realized that a graduation speaker, chooses a topic that's really important to them and speaks to a captive audience. And those people are probably thinking about other things. And I realize as a math teacher, that's kind of what I do every single day of the year. So I'm perfect for this job. Earlier in my teaching career, I taught at one of the fanciest and most prestigious private schools in the country. It's a school a little smaller than Medomak, has its own hockey rink and a swimming pool. The school recently built a $40 million science building, and it sends dozens of students to the Ivy League every year. When some of my current students hear about where I've taught in the past, they're curious to know why I chose to teach in Medomak Valley. And it's a long story, and I won't go into all of the details, but I'll give you sort of the short version. And that is that I wanted to move back to Maine, and I wanted to teach in a place where I'm closely connected to my students and my community. I love going to the Waldoboro Hannaford and seeing one of my former students working at the cash register. Now I know they feel a little different when they see their former math nemesis approaching the front of the store. Please choose a different checkout lane. Well, there are only 2 lanes open. It is the Waldoboro Hannaford. So if we calculate the probability, well, you get the picture. But I promise I have never asked one of my former students to calculate the mean, median, or mode of the number of items per shopping bag. Now that private school that I worked at, it did have some superficial advantages over our humble school. Sorry, I hate to break it to you after your 4 years here, but there is no swimming pool on the 2nd floor of Medomak Valley. But what we lack in physical amenities and financial resources is more than compensated for by the quality of the people who learn and teach in this school. Character, grit, and perseverance are all buzzwords in education, but these values have been at the core of a Medomak Valley education for decades. Here's an example. Last year at the Camden Hills math meet, the Camden teacher who had proctored the Medomak team came and found me after the meet. She wanted to tell me how polite and helpful our team had been during the meet. Now another coach who was there overheard this comment, and she said, "Of course, the Medomak teams, they're every coach's favorite." We placed a respectable third at that meet, but I'm even more proud to be part of a team that ranks high in the character scale. Although I've only taught at Medomak for 3 years, I've had a longer connection to the region. My family moved to our blueberry farm up on Clary Hill 14 years ago. I've always loved being outside, working with my hands, and being connected to the natural world. One day, a couple of weeks ago, I left school pretty exhausted. My rambunctious pre-algebra students test even my limitless patience. I took our new puppy for a walk up on the blueberry barrens. It was the first real warm day of spring. It was the one that we had all been waiting for, and my blueberry fields were in full blossom. I crouched down close to get a look at the flowers, to get a sense of how hard the bees were working. I was proud of how good the fields looked, since that was partially due to the hard work that I'd put into them. Stewardship is the buzzword for that. Now I know that some of you might be worried that I'm going to make a corny comparison between mentoring students and growing plants, nurturing plants. And I'll admit that when I think of a beautiful, delicate little flower blossom, what comes to mind? Duncan MacLeod. I will skip the metaphor, but simply point out that it's the connection that matters the most to me. When I see a geometry student with their chair pulled up next to Mr. Payson's desk, getting that extra bit of geometry help, or Mr. McNelly in the hall ribbing some poor freshman, or Mrs. Philbrook explaining for the 100th time the no-hat policy to some students, I see adults who are connecting with kids. And the research shows that it is easier for kids to learn when they are connected with the adults around them. As seniors, I hope that you feel a connection to this place, to your peers, and to your teachers. I know that after 4 years, you have more than earned your right to be chomping at the bit to move on to the next phase of your life. But this is the moment to celebrate the relationships, to recognize the web of support that has got you to this precipice of adulthood. Your parents and close family members, the friend who sent 30 commiserating messages after you failed a chemistry test, the teacher who stayed after school to help you with edits on a final paper. We like to think of ourselves as individual entities, but when we are honest about it, we see that who we are is almost entirely determined by how we interact with those around us. Those bees hard at work on my blueberry fields, pollinating them, are clearly individual organisms, but their lives are intermingled with their hive. From a simplistic view, this type of interdependence and cooperative existence seems to contradict Darwinian evolution. Isn't every individual striving to promote and propagate their own genetic code? Recent research has dispelled this simplistic version, and there's considerable evidence that cooperation plays an important role in the working of evolution. I find this heartening. Instead of being solitary units struggling to advance our own personal situation, we are part of a connected web. We can do good for ourselves while also working to improve the lives of those around us. In 1931, the physicist Albert Einstein published a short text called Living Philosophies. In it, he wrote, quote, "Strange is our situation here upon earth. Each of us comes for a short visit, not knowing why, yet sometimes seeming to a divine purpose. From the standpoint of daily life, however, there is one thing we do know, that we are here for the sake of others, for the countless unknown souls with whose fate we are connected by a bond of sympathy. Many times a day, I realize how much my outer and inner life is built upon the labors of people, both living and dead, and how earnestly I must exert myself in order to give in return as much as I have received and am still receiving." When we think of Albert Einstein, don't we think of him as being a singular genius? And yet he understood that his revolutionary discoveries were possible due to the centuries of human intellectual endeavor. There is a common stereotype of a solo scientist hard at work in the lab. The modern reality is that a team of researchers collaborates to solve a complex problem. In my classes, I appreciate the students who engage with others and who work to make connections between math and other subjects. And I know that when I address your generation and I talk about connecting, you think about Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat. I will try to avoid the cliche of being an old fogey up at the podium, lecturing teenagers about the perils of the internet. The irony is that modern technology and our fast-paced life gives us so many opportunities to forge real relationships, but the outcome is often fractured in a disjointed existence. A few weeks ago, I heard a radio interview with Sebastian Junger, an author of The Perfect Storm and a seasoned war reporter. He has just written a new book in which he investigates why so many veterans are struggling to reintegrate into the American society. His controversial conclusion is that our culture is a substantial part of the problem. In a Memorial Day interview with Time magazine, he said, quote, "Western society has this narrative that we're moving steadily toward a kind of societal perfection, and in some ways we are. The improvements are amazing. But there's this massive unseen cost, which is our sense of connectedness to the group. And that connectedness to the group has been at a core of what our definition of what it means to be a human has been for 2 million years. And for the first time in human history, it's being challenged. It's being corroded. I believe the tight-knit communities of our 5 small towns has resisted the corrosion that Younger warns about. We're tough and we're independent, but we also look after one another. So my advice to you is twofold. Go out into the world, live in strange places, meet people who are wildly different than yourself, but at the same time remember who you are and where you are from. Think of what it means to be a Mainer. Be proud to be a graduate of Medomak Valley. Whether you move to Boston or Beijing or stay in Mid-Coast Maine, live a small town life. Value the friendships and the bonds that you've built here. Be connected. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hinckley, for those inspiring words of wisdom. We will now present awards and scholarships to the class of 2016. Will the scholarship presenters please come forward? Neil Lash will be presenting the David Cox Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500 to Benjamin Turner. In recognition of the outstanding contributions to the community by the late Charles M. Begley, the Waldoboro Lions Club is announcing an award in his name. This award will be presented to a graduating senior at Medomak Valley High School who has demonstrated traits of particular thoughtfulness, caring, and community involvement, along with high academic standing. These qualities and achievements were prized by Mr. Begley, who spent many years at Medomak Valley High School. The Lions Club prizes them and also wishes to have them and Mr. Begley honored tonight. The award is being presented by Mrs. Charles Begley and her son, Paul, in the amount of $1,500 to Jackson Vale. The Lions Club Foundation Scholarship in the amount of $1,500 is being presented by Frank Daly to Patrick Madden. Each year, a dedicated crew of car enthusiasts organizes the Cruisin' to Graduation Car Show at Medomak Valley High School to raise money to benefit Project Graduation. Their efforts have ensured that the graduating Medomak Valley seniors can attend a safe and fun celebration on graduation night at no cost to them. Joan Vanna will be presenting this year's scholarship in the amount of $500 to Christopher Mank. Carolyn Rasmussen will be presenting the Charles Rasmussen Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 to Adam Wilcox. Missy Dean, Chelsea Creamer, and Shane Osier will be presenting the Dustin J. Osier Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500 each to Stephanie Hill, Jackson Vale, Patrick Madden, and Nicholas DePatsy.
Thank you very much. What's going on?
Thank you. Al McKay and Zakiya Thiessen will be presenting the Charles C. Lilly Post 149 American Legion Scholarship in the amount of $300 each to Krista Hooper, Christopher Mank, and Jacob Siegel. Melissa Sukforth will be presenting the Stephanie Sukforth Gilman Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 to Miranda Belcher. Amanda Shelmerdine and Sue Wilcox will be presenting multiple scholarships from the town of Warren. First, the Cyrus Eaton Scholarships in the amount of $1,500 each to Adam Wilcox, Sophie Cohen, Samantha Fowles, Benjamin Turner, Kyle Blum, Ariel Haskins, Ethan Swan, Krista Hooper, Margaret Cox, Miranda Belcher, Ryan Martin, Christopher Mank, Megan Linscott, and Kaylee Curtis. The next scholarship will be the Sarah Hilt High School Endowment Award in the amount of $1,300 to Benjamin Turner. The next scholarship is the Edward Lemke Scholarship in the amount of $200 being presented to Margaret Cox. The next scholarship is the Leland Overlock Scholarship in the amount of $225 each, presented to Ethan Swan and Krista Hooper. Next is the Brian and Phyllis Robinson Scholarship in the amount of $1,300 being presented to Samantha Fowles. And being presented $500 each from the Brian and Phyllis Robinson Scholarship are Kyle Blum and Ariel Haskins. The next scholarship is the Frank and Gertrude Rowe Scholarship in the amount of $2,200 each, being presented to Adam Wilcox and Sophie Cohen. The final scholarship these ladies will be presenting is the Warren Day Scholarship in the amount of $700 being presented to Kyle Blum. Thank you. The Robert and Eleanor Heald Scholarship from the town of Union is being presented by Irene Hawes in the amount of $9,000 to Jill Vanderschaff. $8,000 to Riley Arbor. And $6,400 presented to Chelsea Luce.
Let's see.
Mrs. Hawes will also be presenting the William Pullen Scholarship in the amount of $4,400 to Jacob Siegel. In addition, there are two $2,000 scholarships being presented to Jill Vanderschaff and Riley Arbor. Lastly, Mrs. Hawes will be presenting the Gilbert Dowdy Memorial Scholarship of $250 to Jacob Siegel. And in addition, the Frank and Gertrude Rose Scholarship of $135 to Jacob Siegel.
Here, you want to take it at the same time?
Thank you to our presenters. The next round of scholarships, I will be assisted by Mrs. Philbrook and Mrs. Pease, the two assistant principals at Medomak Valley. The Lori Ann Pinkham Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $250 each is being presented to Brooke Creamer and C. Wadsworth. The Friendship Davis Point Scholarship in the amount of $100 each is being presented to Alexia Hilt and Duncan McLeod. The Shane Weeks Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $400 is being presented to Annabelle Bouchard. The Mildred Moody Teal Scholarship in the amount of $2,500 is being presented to Christopher Mank. The Rose LaBelle Clark Scholarships in the amount of $2,500 each are being presented to Todd Crawford, Catherine Goldrup, and Olivia Wheeler. From that same Rose Clark Scholarship, there are a number of $5,000 awards. They are being presented to Oliver Brown, Nicholas DePatsy, Stephanie Hill, Shannon Murphy, Kelsey Prine, and Jackson Vale. The Mildred F. Davis Scholarship in the amount of $975 is being presented to Justin Bowman. The B.M. Clark Foundation Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 each are being presented to Riley Arbor and Chelsea Luce. The Maine Antique Digest Scholarship in the amount of $2,040 is being presented to Ryan Martin. The Medomak Valley All Sports Booster Club scholarships in the amount of $800 each being presented to Krista Hooper and Jackson Vale. The Fred Ludwig Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,300 each being presented to Julia Clark and Patrick Madden. The George and Marion Secor Scholarship in the amount of $3,400 each are being presented to Michaela Brazier, Oliver Brown, Shannon Murphy, Tucker Prescott, Mackenzie Wing, and Nicholas DePatsy. The E. Ashley and Mildred M. Walter Memorial Scholarships in the amount of $1,000 each are being presented to Riley Arbor, Kyle Blum, Sophie Cohen, Kaylee Curtis, Alexia Hilt, Krista Hooper, Jacob Siegel, Ethan Swan, Adam Wilcox, and Mackenzie Wing. The Frank and Lottie Hunter Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500 each are being presented to Oliver Brown, Nicholas DePatsy, Cassidy Dever, Stephanie Hill, Shannon Murphy, Kelsey Prine, and Jackson Vale. The F. Roger Miller Memorial Scholarships in the amount of $2,200 each will be presented to Mackenzie Wing, Nicholas DePatsy, Michaela Brazier, Todd Crawford, and Olivia Wheeler. The Mildred Merrifield Walter Scholarship in the amount of $10,000 is being presented to Riley Arbor. An additional Mildred Merrifield Walter Scholarship in the amount of $5,000 is being presented to Chelsea Luce. The University of Maine Farmington has awarded an Academic Achievement Award in the amount of $1,000 to Miranda Belcher. The Tyler Grand Mason Medomak Scholarship in the amount of $2,000 is being presented to Stephanie Hill. The Senator George J. Mitchell Scholarship Research Institute awards over 130 scholarships each year, one to a graduating senior from every public high school in Maine. The scholarship is for $8,500. This year, there were approximately 1,600 applicants from across the state, resulting in a highly competitive selection process. Please join me in congratulating this year's Mitchell Scholar from Medomak Valley High School, Stephanie Hill. Thanks to a generous gift from the John T. Gorman Foundation, 13 additional $8,500 Promise Mitchell scholarships have been awarded to applicants statewide. The 2016 Promise Mitchell Scholar from Medomak Valley is James Vandette. Coupled with the awards that we handed out yesterday at Class Day, the community has provided in excess of $300,000 in scholarships to our Medomak Valley graduates. Superintendent Nolan, would you please join me at the podium?
Congratulations, seniors. I wish you the very best. Mr. Kavanaugh, has each of the students before us completed the requirements for graduation as delineated in the RSU 40 policies and the laws of the state of Maine?
Yes, the students before you have met all the graduation requirements to receive a Medomak Valley High School diploma.
Then by the authority vested in me by the RSU 40 Board of Directors and the Department of Education, as Superintendent of Schools, I ask you to confer upon these graduates the diplomas representing the completion of their formal high school education. Congratulations.
Timothy Ryan Jerome. Sierra Dawn Knight. Andrew Edward Crunk. Caitlin Marie Barter. Riley Joel McCullough. Casey Lynn Wagner. Brendan John Lash. Kaylee Lynn Curtis. Zachary Kenneth Starr. Jessica Michelle Herrick. Joseph Tyler Campagna. Juliana Lee Lieberman. Parker Richard Lash. Morgan Arlene Francis Tolman. Ryan Andrew Martin. Arin Bell Ducharme. Joshua John Robinson. Paige Allison Mason. Daniel Jeffrey Bubar. Hannah Elaine Osier. David Hunter Heron. Michaela Inez Brazier. Ryan Alexander Poland. Cassidy Meredith Dever. Tristan Scott Whitcomb. Abigail Ann Griffin. Jason Howard Derby. Jamie Morgan Stone. Adam Lauren Wilcox. Emily Rose Vitale. Todd Naskin Crawford. Riley Christine Arbor. Jared Michael Overlock. Madison Louise Brown. Justin Travis Bowman. Claire Elnora Lupian. Gifford Thomas Campbell III. Kelsey Marie Prime. Nicholas Charles McAuliffe. Stacy Lynn Wadsworth. Devin Matthew Hooper. Hannah Nicole Weil. Lucas Edward Pazaricki. Margaret Lynn Cox. Noah Abram Stanley. Darian Evelyn Daniello. Oliver Shepard Brown. Shelby May Lane. Gage Alexander Hargrove. Emily Nicole Leary. William Harold Greenrose. Vanessa Ashley Omega Rancourt. Maxwell Emery Smith. Hannah Alice Watmow. Kyle Patrick Blum. Emily Lorraine Watton. Christopher Ryan Mank. Cassandra Ellen Benner. Dennis Wade Westcott. Catherine Elizabeth Goldrup. Duncan Kenneth McLeod. Shannon Kelly Murphy. Tucker Wingate Prescott. Amanda Nicole Poland. Nicholas Anthony DePatsy. Allison Claudia Taylor. Zachary Everett Rogachoff. Chloe Marie Winchenbach. Justice Hope Barrows. Ariel Elizabeth Haskins. Leighton George Beal. Courtney Ray Simmons. Walker Richard Grindle. Ashley May Lay. James Allen Van Dett. Morgan Emily Black. Riley James Cushman. Julia Diane Clark. Tyler Ryan Willie. Taylor Nicole Guptill. Dagan Ryder Poland. Stephanie Allen Hill. Blake Robert Beveridge. Cassandra K. Mank. Gavin Michael Jordan. Shiloh Jody Myra Wall. Chance Scott Leathers. Megan Marie Linscott. Liam Christopher Morris. Abigail Mary Mott. Trevor Earl Thompson. Annabelle Marie Bouchard. Dion Charles Emery. Bethany Ann Como. Rory Patrick McCaffrey. Alicia Marie Lagasse Gould. Joseph Paul Taylor. Charlotte Ann Nichols. Ryan Wallace Delano. Megan Marie Sykes. Ethan James Swan. Katrina Marie Williams. Bryce Matthew Bowman. Caitlin Lee Brand. Sebastian Lee Merrifield. Finley Rowan Gans. Benjamin Robert Turner. Ashley Nicole Gray. Sean Patrick Thomas. Emily Kate Strom. Hayden Wesley Reed. Olivia Imogene Wheeler. Terry Lee Hafer Jr. Courtney Lynn Elaine Worcester. Patrick Hugh Madden. Brooke Paige Creamer. Jacob Ethan Siegel. Alexia Noel Hilt. Jackson Paul Vale. Rayanne Michelle Leach. Owen James Gilbert. Chelsea Neetha Luce. Timothy James Miller. Jill Elaine Vanderschaft. Dylan Michael Smith. Hannah Rose Whitcomb. Simon James Tainter. Miranda Page Belcher. Christian Isaac Hope. Samantha Mora Fowles. Sheldon John Labway. Catherine Elizabeth Hatfield. Ezra James Hinckley. Jordan Shea McComas. Austin James Piper. Courtney Lynn Shallow. Zachary Lindsay Rollins. Mackenzie Elizabeth Wing. Benjamin Scott Stevenson. Sophie Jewel Cohen. Robert Craig Cole. Brianna Lynn Luce. Krista Lindsay Hopper. I'm sorry, excuse me, Hooper. Christy Lindsay Hooper. Sorry, last one. Krista Lindsay Hooper. I apologize. Seniors, you may now move your tassels from the right to the left as a sign of your graduation. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present to you the 2016 Medomak Valley High School graduates.